What's up guys, my name's Luke and welcome back to Motion and Design. So yeah, I just want to say hi to all the new subscribers. I think since my last video, I have gained 2,000 subscribers, which is absolutely crazy. Yes, thank you so much for all the recent support on my latest videos. You guys really seem to like this Lord of the Rings, sorry, not Lord of the Rings, Rings of Power series. I think I'm going to try to do more of them. I'm trying to figure out how to do the Last of Us intro. So yeah, maybe that will be coming up in the next few weeks. So yeah, keep an eye out. Yeah, and I also want to say thanks for the new Patrons. I really appreciate all the support that you guys have given me. So yeah, it's really great. Yeah, this is going to be the last one of the series. We're going to be doing the effect of kind of creating this void. It was at the very end of the Rings of Power intro. And yeah, we're going to be using Xparticles. I'm also going to do a little bit of a breakdown of the previous tutorials in this one, so it's just kind of like one complete one that kind of has a mix of Xparticles and Cinema 4D. So yeah, I really hope you guys enjoy this. If you enjoy this type of content, please consider subscribing and giving the video a like. It really does help with the algorithm. And yeah, if you want to support the channel even more, please consider subscribing to my Patreon. I have a bunch of tutorials on there and all of the project files for all the Rings of Power and all my other tutorials. So yeah, let's get straight into this. Cool, so I've got a project set up over here with 2 rocks. I showed you guys how to do these rocks in the first tutorial. So yeah, I've just got a low poly rock and a high poly rock. Let's start off by creating a plane over here. Let's just increase this to something like that. And let's grab a cloner. So I'm not going to spend too much time on how I did all of this because I broke this down in detail in the first tutorial. So let's just make it like 40 by 40 and 10 by 10, so we have a nice grid like that. Let's add a random effector and change this to be like 10 centimeters on each axis. Let's also add some random rotation to these and a bit of a uniform scale, maybe about 0.5, so we have some variation in them. Cool, let's just bring the cloner up a tiny bit so that they don't fall through the ground. We can just make sure that's not going past the plane over here. And on the plane, let's go and add a collider body. And on our cloner over here, let's go and add a rigid body. Make sure that on the plane, that bounce is set to something smaller, maybe around like 10 should be fine, because we don't really want too much friction. Let's press play. Awesome, they fall down, they stick. Let's go into our bullets over here, go to dynamics and set initial state. Awesome, so that's that first part. Let's grab a circle over here, change it to about a radius of 100 and set it to XZ so it's facing upwards. This is going to be the basis of our field force. So let's go over here, forces, and find a field force. Let's drag our circle into the field force and we're going to change our distance to radius. Yeah, if any of this is confusing, please look back on my other tutorials. I do break it down a little bit more in detail. I just didn't want to spend too much time on this one, seeing as I've already done it before. So yeah, I'm going to send it to a radius of about, let's say 200, and the strength of about 13. So now when we press play, cool, the rocks move nicely to it. I think I'm also going to add a spherical field. And I'm just going to animate the size do that so that as it progresses, it kind of drags in more rocks from the outside a little bit slower. You can see as it increases, as more rocks kind of go in, let's just increase this a little bit more, maybe to about 400. Let's make this 40 in the strength. Cool. This way, at least when the simulation is going, at least we have constant movement and that it's not just all moving to the front, to the circle in the very beginning. Cool, so that's the breakdown of the first part over here. We can go and hide these for now. Let's just call this rocks. Another thing, once you're happy with this, cache this and then replace the low res one with the high res one. Cool, so let's do the Xparticles now. So on our plane, let's go and add in extensions, and let's add in an XP collider, and let's also turn off the bounce. Although I guess we're not really dealing with gravity, so you don't need to do this, but yeah, I mean, might as well do it. Cool, let's grab a XP system, grab an emitter, and change it to circle. So it's set to 50 centimeters. We want it to be the same size as our circle over here. So let's bring that out. And we know that the circle is 100 centimeters. So just change this to 100 centimeters and put on the +Y. Let's also just bring up our emitter by a little bit. So it's like just above the plane. Something like that should be good. And now if we press play, let's also just turn off our cloner for now so that we can work in real time. So you'll see what's happening is that the particles are moving, and what's happening is that they're actually interacting with our field force over here. So initially when doing this this project, I thought about using the field force and Xparticles, or the flow field and Xparticles, but I didn't get a good result. It kind of did this, and it just does not look nice. That's why I ended up using a cloner. So yeah, let's go into our emitter over here, go to modifiers, and let's drag in our field force. This is telling it to not use the field force. So now when we press play, we should get them all spawning over here. Interesting. Why are they not shooting? Okay, so the reason that was happening over there was that if we had to go over here into display and change this to spheres, press play again, they were actually intersecting with our plane over here. So because it has a collider, they were getting stuck. That's why there was no movement over there. So we don't want these clones shooting upwards. Let's change this back to dots. What's the default? You do this so many times that let's just go with circle for now. Okay, doesn't really matter too much, to be honest. Sorry. Yeah, let's go back to our object over here. So we only want it to be shooting from around the ring over here. So how we do that is we select ring only. So when we do that, it's only going to be shooting from the edge of the ring, but we want it to shoot inwards. And so we can do that by changing the cone angle over here. If we change it to 90 degrees, you'll see that it shoots outwards. We can just make this -19, and now they shoot inwards. Super cool. I do not like that display. Let's go back to spheres over here. We don't want this to last the full time, because if it does, they're kind of going to go outwards, and that doesn't look great. Let's go over here into our mission tab, and let's change the full lifespan to something maybe around like 50. Let's see what that looks like. Also, let's change the speed. Let's maybe make it 50 in the speed, so it's a little bit more slow. Something like that is good. Let's just make it that it's 60. So as it reaches the center, the particles disappear. Awesome, that's exactly what we're looking for. Let's also change the radius over here to something around 1 centimeter. Let's maybe put a variation of 1 as well, so that we have different sizes of particles over here. Cool, so in the Rings of Power intro, you noticed that as the particles come to the center, they kind of become smaller and disappear. It kind of looks as if it's like going into this void. So how can we get that effect is we can use a XP scale modifier over here. So that's another control modifiers. And if you just set to press play, what's going to happen is that they're just all going to increase. So if it's if your emitter over here, the display, if it's set to the default, you'll notice that the little dots that kind of stay the same, there's no change. But if you just change it to sphere or box or anything where you can actually see the scale of the particles, you'll see that the scale effector is actually affecting it. Cool. So let's go over here and let's change it from, instead of change value over time, we're going to use set by fall off. And we're going to go in here and create a spherical field. So now, as they come in, they're going to disappear. We don't want it to be like that. We want it to only disappear when it's in the center. Let's just change this a little bit more. And now if we had to hide the spherical field, look at that. Super cool. So then now that's mixed with our rocks over here. Creates this really cool effect. So yeah, you'll notice in the render that I did, the center of our object over here had this kind of really dark feeling to it, and I'll just show you how I got that. So let's go over here. I'm just going to download a bridge asset. I think I did some procedural textures when I was actually creating this, but for now, just for ease of use, we're just going to use a bridge texture. Let's throw this onto the plane over here and open up Octane. Cool, so let's also just go over here and add in a Octane object tag, and let's throw in our high geometry over here so that we can actually see what we're doing. Cool. So yeah, I'm not going to worry about the lighting and stuff like that for now. I think you guys can do that, or you can just download the project file if you're interested. So yeah, how do we get this void over here? Because at the moment, this doesn't look very great. Even if we had some lighting, it just kind of looks like it's going smoother. So how I got that was by using a gradient. Let's go over here, add an Octane gradient. Let's set that to the albedo over here so we can see what we're doing. And let's change it to radial. Let's take this transform over here and bring it out so that it's not actually showing anything. And now what we need to do is just swap around these colors. And now just by doing that, we have this void in the center here. So you can mess around with that a little more until you find it's something that you like. And let's grab another multiply node, and let's throw this into the first texture and the other multiply into the second texture, and throw that into the albedo. And now you have a mix of the two, and now it gives effect as if it is going into the void. So yeah, I really hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial. Sorry, just one more thing before I go. You'll notice that the particles over here all face in the same direction. That's a very easy fix. We can just go over here into the emitter and just extend the data, rotation, and set this to either random or tangential. If you're changing it to tangential, I'd recommend just adding in an XP spin. But yeah, I really hope you enjoyed this tutorial and really hope you enjoyed this series of mine. Yeah, I'm hoping to try and do more of these like intro breakdowns. As I mentioned at the beginning, The Last of Us is the next one that I want to try to figure out. I'm struggling a little bit to get the effect right. It's definitely going to be a budget version of The Last of Us, but I hopefully can figure it out. So yeah, I just want to say thanks again for all the support. It really means a lot to me. It's kind of crazy how far we've come in just a year. I think I only started doing tutorials about a year ago, and we're at 7,000 subscribers now, and it's so cool. So yeah, and actually I'm at 34 Patreons. I think it's like that. So yeah, I just want to say thank you for all the support. It really does mean a lot to me. And yeah, I hope you guys have a great day, and I'll see you guys next week. Peace.